Political earthquake in California, maybe. For my commentaries, I do my best to make sure I have the latest facts. Due to updated news sometimes coming in after I get the story out there, stories can change. So with that, let me talk about the disgraceful, total mess called California and its highly questionable voting system days after the primary elections. The public is still not certain who won the two ridiculously expensive and highly nationally publicized races. Those are, of course, the primaries for California governor and Los Angeles mayor. I strongly support Trump's Save America Act. Time to have honest elections nationwide. For California governor, Republican Steve Hilton, a former member of the conservative news media, was hailed as having a lead through much of the election cycle. California has this crazy deal called a jungle primary, which means all the candidates are on one ballot and the two top performers end up in the final election in November, unless one gets over 50%, and then they win immediately. Doing primaries like other states for the GOP and Dem candidates would make a lot more sense. Solidly in the race was Sheriff Chad Bianco, another Republican. While highly unlikely, some even theorized there would be two GOP candidates in the November governor's race. I was even getting excited for the locals in California as they are in desperate need of a change, with gas prices averaging $6.50. The locals are getting hammered and nowhere else to go in these tough times. Things have changed quickly on the Dem side. The early California lead was the Dem clown Swalwell, good old Swalwell, who had resigned from Congress due to pressure regarding alleged misconduct. Apparently, more came out and he pulled out of the California race. This left a black hole. Then, to fill the gap, there was a big money race on the Dem side between former Biden administration official Xavier Becerra and rich guy Tom Steyer. Even in what is considered a blue state, Hilton seemed to have managed all of this. Then we get to Election Day with only 50% of the votes in by the day after, and it takes an incredible, ready for this, 37 days for California to record votes. That's insane. It's a very sketchy deal. Right now, Becerra has edged out Hilton for the lead, followed by Steyer and Bianco. I do feel that due to the diversity in California and the competition among the many Dem candidates, Hilton is solid for the general election. Keep in mind that so-called deep blue California has elected Ronald Reagan and Arnold Schwarzenegger as governors. Although Schwarzenegger turned out to be a rhino, Republican in name only. So Hilton has a shot, since it's possible for Hilton to win in nearly everything outside of the big city centers. Now, not so rosy in the city of Los Angeles. Incumbent Dem Mayor Karen Bass was expected to do well, despite being a terrible mayor for America's second largest city. She's just another corrupt anti-ICE liberal. Her record is a mass of homelessness and the disastrous fires. It just goes to show you how deep corruption can go when it comes to incumbent candidates. Enter on the GOP side the outlier Spencer Pratt, a 42-year-old reality TV actor who lost his home in the deadly Palisades fires. He appears to have come in second at this time, but they keep counting votes, and none of them seem to be for Pratt. I mean, none of them. So another Dem, Nissev Rahman, may sneak into second slot. I cannot say and will not say without proof that this is likely election fraud. All that I will say is that if Rahman edges out Pratt, I am glad the FBI is already involved. Many people have compared this to rolling a dice if we follow percentages and say each candidate has a roughly 1/4 chance to earn a vote, 100% probability that the votes don't tally differently, or at least in that 25% range for each candidate. So, for election tallies to come in this way is a mathematical improbability. This seems that to occur regularly with Democrat candidates, just like with Biden in the 2020 election. Remember, that's when the United States magically woke up with him finding thousands of unexplained votes in Michigan. Now, why does Dr. Dave have a problem with mail-in voting, you may ask? The problem is the voter registration system and the mailing of improperly supervised mail-in ballots makes fraud incredibly easy in California and other states that have sloppy mail-out ballot systems. The recently disclosed hospice scandal in California proves that where the system leaves space for graft, it tends to happen. And when you have millions of dollars on the line and when corruption can occur, generally it will occur. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney for California have announced they are already investigating possible election fraud in California. Of course, I'm not going to hold my breath on this. There's lots of investigations and accusations. There are a dime a dozen. Time for people to start going to prison. I saw an interesting article noting time to get votes tallied in different countries. Believe it or not, 2 hours in the large country of Brazil to get a final vote tally, 4 hours in another country. However, in contrast, California, which is the size of a small country, with only 10 million votes, it takes them 37 days. My opinion is that the longer they allow vote counting in any jurisdiction, the more likely it is that the votes are being manipulated. So why is California in play and in the news? Newsom's administration went from a $21.4 billion surplus to a continuing budget deficit of $20 to $35 billion each year in the future. How's that for a start? So the state is broke. The usual Dem response is raise taxes and raise them high, and not only on the rich, all the citizens of the state. Then enter the anti-business attitude, which has resulted in what is called domestic out-migration. This means American citizens are moving to other states. I guarantee you this is not the homeless leaving. Further, corporations are fleeing in record numbers. Tesla moving to Texas is a great example. And the latest dumb idea is a desperate plan to bail out the state's finances with a so-called wealth tax. Not only that, it might be made retroactive to the first of the year. I believe that last provision violates the U.S. Constitution. Of course, that won't stop California from trying to raid other people's pocketbooks. Billionaires in particular have been fleeing the state already due to the high taxes. This could close them out entirely. Then the middle class will be the ones stuck with this albatross. That's for sure. Other reasons: a third of the nation's welfare recipients and nearly a third of the homeless live in just that one state, California. Almost a quarter of the state's population lives below the poverty line. Its green energy policies and high taxes have consistently produced the highest gasoline and electricity prices in America. A very recent example of how bad it is to live in California is the cost of insurance. Some California homeowners are now being offered homeowner policies with a wildfire deductible. Think about the chronic failure of the state to do proper forest land control, which is the real cause of these now routine forest fires. I saw a report indicating that one homeowner was being charged a deductible for wildfires of an incredible $621,000, in addition to the regular homeowner deductible of an incredible $100,000. That means the resident would be out of pocket almost $750,000 before the insurance would pay anything. How many of you could take that much of a hit? And yet, the state of California is beautiful. Coastlines and natural beauty would make many other states jealous. I lived there briefly early in my corporate career. For many years, San Francisco was my #1 American city to visit. That stopped over a decade ago. Not ruined by earthquakes or other natural disasters, but by power-crazed, dim politicians. And let me close out this segment with a great American quote from a brilliant man named Abraham Lincoln. You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. I hope a solid number of California voters, including the ones in Los Angeles, decide not to be fooled again. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your feedback and concerns. And remember, you can always like, comment, and subscribe right below. And if you've got any ideas for a specific episode or topic, be sure to let us know in the comments, and we generally not only read all the comments, we try and take action based on them. And you can also see us at our website, drdavesavesamerica.com.